Gone. Part 3 of 5 in a 5-part series from the PPCMB on the fight to restore Caloundra's Barrier Island and waterway. I'm Jen Kettleton Butler, volunteer spokesperson. This episode, for 60 years, Caloundra was put in the too hard basket. And then, finally, we saw some action. Let me tell you a story that'll make your blood boil, and then give you some reason for hope. In the late 60s, the Queensland government chose Mooloolaba as the region's pilot station because the Caloundra Bar was considered too difficult and expensive to deal with. Caloundra was put in the too hard basket before the fight even started. In 1964, Caloundra residents took detailed engineering proposals to the state government and warned that a breakthrough was inevitable. The response, too expensive. In 1973, the Beach Protection Authority recommended a groin scheme. No funds. Then, in 87, a formal government report laid out 4 options for stabilising the Caloundra Bar. Cost at the time, in 87, $11 million. Unfortunately, nothing was done. Then, in the year 2000, a scientific thesis predicted a breakthrough within 20 years. Guess what? Accurate to the year. We were warned. The compounding cost of 60 years of inaction, the emergency works alone, $30 million. And the long-term solution that we're looking at is likely going to run into many hundreds of millions, with a price tag which will only increase if we keep kicking the can down the road. But here's the reason for hope. After the 2025 breakthroughs, an independent review produced 4 reports in 20 weeks. The emergency works were recommended in the report released in May 2025, report number 2. Between May and September, the section of the island between the 2 breakthroughs continued to crumble. Then, in September 2025, an around-the-clock emergency dredging program commenced, and not a moment too soon. By March 2026, the emergency response was complete. The Alfred breakthrough was closed. The ocean swell had stopped. Tides had dropped back toward the pre-2025 breakthrough levels. 1.1 million cubic metres of sand was dredged from inside of the passage where the island washed in and was rebuilt 2 kilometres of the island, 80 metres wide, 5 metres above AHD, wider and higher than that island had been for decades. The emergency works also included a separate channel that was dredged up to the Coast Guard headquarters, which restored their access back to their Caloundra base. The emergency response, I hear people ask all the time, why only sand? Well, the answer is simple. This is a marine park and a Ramsar wetland. Hard engineering requires extremely detailed federal approvals, which can take years. So sand was the only option fast enough. But don't get the emergency works mixed up with the long-term solution proposed by the review and supported by the government and the majority of the community when it was consulted last year. That long-term solution, the bar back in its original position near the Caloundra headland there at Bullcock Beach, the island reinstated as a continuous barrier, that's it. And as I said, that long-term solution has government support in principle. The government recently also clarified that the Office of the Canadian General is urgently leading the detailed design, costing and approvals process for that long-term solution. The Sunshine Coast Waterways Authority, now about to be operational from July 2026, will go on to manage the long-term solution only once those works are completed. So the right structures are now finally in place. Now it's time for Caloundra to ensure the government goes through and delivers the long-term solution that we desperately need and that we deserve. If you love Caloundra too, like this post, share it with your neighbours and drop a comment below. Part 4 of 5 drops tomorrow, so don't miss it.